friend or foe? Should friend they move on and say, okay, you had a great run, old man. It's an acting position. It's an acting gig. Thank you for your service. It's time to hand the reins over to someone else and keep it a natural speaking voice. Or foe? No. James Earl Jones is Darth Vader, was Darth Vader, and will always be Darth Vader. We have the technology. Let's continue to utilize that man's voice so that he can live on in like almost in an immortal form.
But as like a nerd, I'm like, oh, you can't change it. But then like, there's got to be some fucking like 13-year-old fucking kid who can pull this voice out of his asshole, like just randomly. You know what I mean? Like I refuse to believe. Like we've had like 4 different Elmos, right? Like come on, they all sound exactly the fucking same. We can find like we've had like 17 Kermits, right? I think.
I guarantee you right now, there's a group of people right now as we're speaking that someone's like, hey, man, do your James Earl Jones voice. Yeah, and that person does it and everyone cracks up for 5 minutes. Yeah.
And then that person says, spell Atlantic, the heart of communication. And then fucking everybody's like, oh, that shit's fire. Like, because it is.
I'm torn on this one as well. Now, the friend was, your friend to finding a new actor, foe to keeping James Earl Jones as like the infinite voice.
The AI voice is foe. Okay.
Yeah. So if it was a different character, I think I would be more apt to go for a new actor and just see what they can bring to the character. But I think the character is so established, and the fact that Darth Vader himself was once a man that became a machine, it's almost poetic that the man that started out as the guy who wasn't even supposed to be the voice actor, was supposed to be Orson Welles, but he was too expensive, and Lucas decided that he was too recognizable also as a voice. So it's like, let's find somebody on the cheap who also has a commanding voice for the role. And it just so happened that he heard James Earl Jones doing a reading at a poetry seminar and said, that's my guy right there. And so he basically paid him scale. We got one of the most influential characters in the history of film. And I think it's, again, fitting that the man becomes the machine. And they've got so much tape of him doing video games, doing all the Star Wars movies, doing the series stuff now. Yeah. And the technology is so advanced. This will advance it even further because they haven't even utilized it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, all they have to do now is just plug it and play it. So, in a way, I think I'm going to just have to go, I'm foe. It's the ultimate foe. It's the ultimate evil, and we roll with James Earl for the rest of the days.
I also find it humorous now that it's cheaper just to go the AI route than it is to pay a human being who likely they could probably find someone who could do the voice.